James Tremaine here, and listen, in today's video I'm going to teach you a 30-second protocol that you can use anytime, anywhere to instantly remove negative thinking, limiting beliefs and any self-destructive behaviours, cravings and habits that you might get for drink, drugs, alcohol, junk food or any other unwanted habits that are keeping you stuck. Now, if you can't last 10 minutes, then you need to scroll through this video because your nervous system and your brain is already frazzled. But if you guys can stick around for 10 minutes, I'm going to explain to you exactly the protocol step by step, and you're also going to understand why you're doing these things. This is the most important thing, because just like children, if I were to tell you why, just do this, all right, you're going to be like, yeah, fuck off, I'm going to do the opposite. But once you understand the why behind this, right, the knowledge behind it, and then start to implement it, that's when you can retrain your mind and retrain those old limiting belief systems. Now, the way that the mind works, you have your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is what is controlling all of your behaviors and actions, okay? So there's a whole formula to this. Your belief systems, which you have unconsciously accepted from birth up until the present moment, they are controlling your thoughts. And the way that you think is controlling the way that you feel. And the way that you feel ultimately controls how you act. And your actions are always going to control your results. Now, these belief systems, these subconscious belief systems, these have been programmed into us from birth up until the present moment. This is from friends, family, school, religion, society, okay? And when we were younger, 0 to 7 being the predominant time that we were programmed, but up until the present moment, we didn't have any choice in the situation. We just had to accept whatever our parents said, whatever the school teachers said, etc., right? Because if we didn't, there was a very, very high chance that we wouldn't have survived. Now, if our parents were not conscious and they were, say, racists, or they had limiting beliefs themselves that they inherited from their parents and from their schools, etc., then that limiting belief systems, which 95% of us in the West have been programmed with, are going to be controlling our actions and our results in life, okay? So there's a formula to this. So your belief systems are controlling the way that you think. The way that you think then controls the way that you feel. The way that you feel then controls the way that you act. And ultimately, your actions are going to control your results. So if those limiting beliefs are limiting, if they are telling you money doesn't grow on trees, I can't do this, I'm just fat, it runs in my family that we get ill, all right, all of these sort of things, then we are going to act in accordance with how we believe and what we believe to be as true, okay? So this formula, this 30-second protocol that I'm going to give you is going to immediately switch your internal state, okay? So that you think clearer, you think more positively, you align with the new identity, you take action, and then you shift your internal state, and you're going to change the way that you act, okay? And obviously the way that we act is going to improve our results. So this is the formula, okay? Get a notepad, get a pen, write it down, because you're going to be utilizing this every single day, every single moment, okay? So step one of the formula is awareness, okay? Awareness is absolutely key, because you can't change anything if you aren't aware that there's a problem, right? If you're in a cage but you don't know you're in a cage, then you can't escape from the cage, all right? So the first step of all of this is awareness, all right? So you have to start to become aware of all of your thoughts, all of your thinking, all of your actions, okay? This is where most people are asleep, NPCs as they call them, right? They're just going about life, they're at the whim of whatever happens, right? Something happens, they get upset, then they get stressed, so they reach for drink, drugs, alcohol, something to take the edge off, all right? Now, this process is called metacognition, okay? It's the process of becoming aware of one's own thoughts, feelings, and actions. Why do I say the things I say? Why do I think the way I think? Why do I do the things I do? Okay, this is metacognition, and this is the absolute start of it. So whenever you have a negative thought or a craving for drugs, alcohol, junk food, porn, scrolling, whatever your vice is, all right, whenever you feel stressed, whenever you get this limiting belief, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, all right, all of these negative thoughts, yeah, first of all, you need to start catching them. Okay, so start becoming aware of that little voice inside your head. Now, we all have that voice inside of our head, and it's always narrating what's going on in our life. And you may not think you have one, but you do, all right? Just ask yourself, say hello right now in your own mind, okay? That's the voice, yeah? And that voice is either positive or it's negative. And it's based on that programming and that conditioning that we had from kids. yeah? So it's always gonna tell us, yeah, you can't do this, James, or you're not good enough, or yeah, you're stressed, go have a beer, like you've earned it, etc., right? So what we wanna be doing is becoming extremely aware of every single thought that we ever have, all right? Now, this is where you can ask yourself the question, am I breathing, for example, right? And because just asking yourself the question, am I breathing, is going to bring attention to how you're thinking and how you're breathing, okay? But the second that you notice yourself having a negative thought or a limiting belief, I'm not good enough, etc., that's step one, awareness, okay? Step two is immediately say, fuck off, cancel, okay? That's step two. So immediately break the pattern. Cancel, fuck off, right? You can say that out loud, or you can say that mentally in your own mind, all right? Depending on where you are. It's better when you say it out loud, you say, fuck off, cancel, okay? And then as you're saying that, you visualize yourself pressing delete on a keyboard, all right? Or you can also visualize yourself wiping off pen off of a whiteboard, okay? And as you do that, imagine that belief system, that old belief, flying away, okay? Getting wiped away, all right? So that's step two. Catch awareness, catch it, cancel, all right? Fuck off, get out of my head. Step three. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a nice, big, deep breath in through the nose, okay? And this is using the 3 parts of the breath that I teach in the fundamentals of breath work. So if you haven't seen that, I'll put a link down below. It's completely free. It's a free training to teach you the fundamentals of breath work, all right? And the reason for this is because your breath is the remote control to your nervous system. And your nervous system comprises your spine and your brain, okay? And obviously your brain is what your nervous system is what your mind, you, the soul, the I, the consciousness who observes all of this, uses to direct things, okay? So if you take a nice big deep breath in through the nose only, okay? The reason for in through the nose is because we signal to our parasympathetic nervous system to switch on. And then we breathe nice and deeply from the belly all the way up to the top of the chest in a nice, slow, long, deep breath, okay? And when we do that, we are taking in, first of all, oxygen, fresh oxygen, and attached to those oxygen molecules is life force energy, prana, okay? This is what's keeping the universe going. Now, as you're breathing nice and deeply, you'll fill the lungs up with as much life force energy as possible. And there's a gland here called, or the olfactory bulb it's called, right? This is responsible for smell. It's the direct connection between your nose and the center of your brain. So when you breathe nice and deeply, what you do is you fill your lungs up with fresh oxygen, fresh life force energy, and that life force energy flows to the center of your brain, and you instantly feel lighter, you feel calmer, you feel more relaxed, you feel more positive, you feel happier, okay? All of these positive sensations, yeah? There's many different chemicals happening as well, nitric oxide, nitrous oxide, all of these different things that we're creating in our bloodstream as you're breathing deeply. So when you're breathing deeply, filling the lungs up with as much oxygen as possible, signaling to your parasympathetic nervous system to switch on. And at the same time, what you're gonna do is you're gonna use your vision blueprint, okay? This is what I teach the guys in the internal control system. And if you haven't done that, I'll put a link in the description as well below, okay? Now, your vision blueprint is probably the most important thing if you're gonna change your identity, change your life, and change your results, okay? A man without a goal is like a ship without a captain. If you don't know where you're going, you don't have a clear understanding of where you want to go, then no matter what happens in your life, of course you're going to fall back to drink, drugs, alcohol, porn, scrolling, whatever your vice is, you haven't got a big enough why, okay? Now, Viktor Frankl said it, a man with a why can bear almost anyhow, okay? So it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. If you know exactly where you're going, that's my goal, that's what I want to achieve, it's something bigger than me. And especially as men, we have to have a goal and a vision and something to aim for. And if we don't, this is where we start to feel stressed, we start to feel anxious, we're worried, okay? We're thinking about the worst case scenarios because we're not in alignment with where we want to go. Okay, so the vision blueprint gets you clear on where you want to go, all right? It gets you clear on the habits that are holding you back, the habits that we need to include, okay, the type of person you need to become. Now, as we take that deep breath in, right, what we'll do is you're going to have your vision blueprint. As I said, I'll put that down in the description below, so if you do want to check that out, you can. And you're going to put your vision blueprint on A5 cards like this, okay? Now, those A5 cards, you're going to laminate them. But you're going to first of all write down your burning desire, your big goal in life, all right? Now, this doesn't need to be like 6 or 7 paragraphs. It needs to be summed up in about 2 or 3 sentences, okay? Something that you can quickly pull out and quickly read, all right? And as you're reading that and taking that big deep breath, you're quite literally filling your lungs up and you're shifting your mindset from fear, worry, anxiety, stress, doubt, all of those things into alignment with where you want to go. Okay, now as you breathe nice and deeply, first of all, feeling those sensations, that oxygen, that life force, that prana coming in, and then what you'll do, on one side, you've got the burning desire, your goal, and on the other side, you've got the type of person you need to become in order to achieve that, okay? So you'll have written on it, I am disciplined, I am strong, I am healthy, etc., etc., okay? Remember, anything we put after I am, we become. Now, your words are extremely fucking powerful, okay? The words that you say out loud and the words that you say in your mind, okay? Words are spells. That's the reason they call it spelling, okay? Now, remember abracadabra as a kid, all right? That literally translates into, as I say, I shall become, okay? So whatever you say out loud and you believe and your subconscious mind accepts as true, this is how the subconscious mind, what is repeatedly put into it, and it accepts as true, it will create into reality, okay? So what you'll have on the other side of the card is I am strong, I am sober, I am happy, okay? And then next to that as well, you're gonna have some of the feelings of how it will feel once this big vision of yours has been achieved. All right, so once you've got everything you want, you've got the big house, you've got everything that you want on your dream desire, how's that gonna feel? Right now, if you can't imagine how it's going to feel, think about it. You're going to feel excited, you're going to feel joyful, you're going to feel happy, you're going to feel peaceful, there's going to be calm, all right? You're going to be feeling strong, you're going to feel unlimited, you're going to feel connected, okay? And as you're saying those things and as you have those written on there and you're taking that deep breath in, start to feel those sensations. I am love, I am joy, I'm peace, I'm happiness, yeah? Connect to that feeling and that sensation. That is literally going to instantly shift your internal state, all right? Now, this is all being done in about 30 seconds, remember. This isn't taking you 2 hours. This is taking you 30 seconds, right? You've caught it, cancel, fuck off, all right? You've got your A5 card out. This should be on you at all time in your pocket, okay? Quickly look at it, read it, okay? Connect to it, okay? Look at the feelings, how it's gonna feel. Big, deep breath in. And then what you're also gonna do, an added part to this, if you've got time and you're somewhere in your office or you're at home, okay, you can just bust out 10 press-ups, yeah? Or you can bust out 20 squats, right? If you don't give a fuck what anyone else does or anyone else says, then yeah, fuck it. Go do 10 press-ups, all right? Obviously, if you're in the post office, you might get a few looks, but who gives a fuck, right? That's gonna instantly, once again, shift your internal state, okay? Remember, our internal state, the way we think and the way we feel is controlling how we act, okay? So if we're starting to feel better, then we're gonna go into our next sales call feeling excited, right? We're gonna be ready to give that person everything that we want. If we all are depressed, angry, fearful, worried, doubtful, we're still thinking about those worry thoughts that we've got, what do you think you're going to do when you go into your next sales call, right? Do you think the potential prospects are going to be like, yeah, I want to buy from this guy? No way. They're going to be like, this guy's fucker. No way. I don't want to work with him, right? So shift your internal state is the next step to the process, okay? You can do the press ups, you can do sit ups, you can do squats, okay? You can do a couple of, well, you're doing the breath work anyway. And then the last part of this is take action, okay? Literally, whatever the next thing you need to do is take action straight away, okay? So whether that be sending a message, whether that be sending an email, making a call, all right? Whatever it may be, putting your offer out, whatever it may be, take action, okay? This action is super important because putting the action in is going to solidify to your new self-identity, okay? The only way that we change our identity is through action and through daily habits, all right? So what we're doing with this process, whenever you're getting a craving to smoke, whenever you're getting a craving to sniff gear, drink beer, or you're fearful, you're worried, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, right? Follow that formula, okay? That step-by-step formula, 5 steps, boom. 30 seconds, let's go, all right? And as you do that constantly, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, you'll notice that your whole life changes, right? Because instead of what's usually happening right now is you get anxious, you get fear, you get worried, you doubt, you're stressed out, you had a big sales call, something went wrong, you got someone at the door, your missus had an argument with you. What you usually do is you get stressed and then your old subconscious patterns, which have been programmed into you from birth up until the present moment. You've seen things get stressful. Maybe you've seen your dad reach for a beer or a bottle of wine after work, all right? Or you've heard limiting beliefs, you're not good enough, I can't do this, all these sort of things that we heard as children. What does that then teach our subconscious mind? That, okay, we can't do this. When we're stressed, let's reach for a beer, all right? And then that's what we've programmed into our mind. And because we've repeated that over and over and over again for 10, 15, 20 years, this is now our literal identity, okay? So the same way that we got programmed as children to create these habits is the same way that we're going to retrain your mind again. Okay, that's why it's called retrain with Tremaine, is to retrain those old limiting belief systems, those old behaviors and those old habits that are keeping you stuck. So keep doing this, all right? First of all, keep reminding yourself, what am I thinking right now? Why do I think this? Okay, and as you're going through this, you'll start to pay attention more and more and more to all these thoughts that are coming up. All right, and then follow the formula. Okay, boom, that's a negative thought. Cancel, fuck off, all right? Big deep breath, get the cards out, all right? How do I want to feel? This is my vision. Literally see it, okay, visualize it. That's the whole point of having an imagination. This is one of our higher faculties of our mind. Imagination, that's how we create our reality, okay? So connect to that, breathe deeply, all right? Feel those sensations, mentally repeat the words, I am love, I am joy, I am peace, I am happiness. Do some press ups if you can, all right? And then boom, straight into action, okay? And I promise you, you do this day in, day out for the next 30 days, yeah? Develop a habit for this and your whole life will change, all right? So try that out. Let me know in the comments how you guys get on over the next 30 days. And if you guys want to go deeper onto this, this is the daily protocol that we use inside the internal control system, right? So this is for all the men who are in that. And if you guys want to go deeper into it and you haven't already, then there'll be a link in the description below for the internal control assessment call, all right? So we can have a chat, find out what's going on in your life, where you're struggling, what's holding you back, all right? Where your loops are. And then if it's a right fit, we'll talk about next steps to get involved in the internal control system with the rest of the men. But apart from that, start implementing this, start noticing your life change. And yeah, see you in the next video, guys. Peace.